and internal security on one, its consideration of the National Police Service Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 39 of 2025. Two, the budget implementation for the financial year 2024-25 with respect to Executive Office of the President, Office of the Deputy President, Office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary, State Department for Parliamentary Affairs, State House, State Department for Immigration and Citizen Service, National Police Service, State Department for Internal Security and National Administration, National Police Service Commission, and Independent Policing Oversight Authority. Madam Speaker, I beg to lay.
Thank you. Next, we also have papers from the Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Health.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Thursday, 27th November 2025. One, it is reports of the Departmental Committee on Health on its consideration on the Health Amendment Bill number 2, National Assembly Bill number 56 of 2024, and 2, the assessment of utilization of funds disbursed by the Social Health Authority (SHA) since its inception and the challenges faced by the health facilities. Thank you.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Honorable Russell, Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to give notice of the following motion, that this House adopts the report of the Department of Administration and Internal Security on the budget implementation for financial year 2024-25 for the following offices, state departments and agencies, laid on the table of the House on Thursday, 27 November 2025. 1, Executive Office of the President. 2, Office of the Deputy President. 3, Office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary. 4, State Department for Parliamentary Affairs. 5, State House. 6, State Department for Immigration and Citizen Service. 7, National Police Service. 8, State Department for Internal Security and National Administration. 9, National Police Service Commission, and Independent Policing Oversight Authority. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Nikal, Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Health.
Honored Speaker, I beg to give notice of the following motion, that this House adopts the report of the Departmental Committee on Health on the utilization of funds disbursed by the Social Health Authority since its inception and the challenges faced by health facilities, laid to the table of the House on Thursday, 27th November 2025. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, before we go to the next order, questions and statements, allow me to dispose of order number 8 and order number 9. Honorable members, I now put the question that this House adopts the first report. Oh, you need to call out the order. Call out order 8.
Order number 8, motion. First report of the status of implementation of the Constitution by 3 commissions. Question to be put.
Thank you. Honorable members, I now put the question that this House adopts the first report of the Constitutional Implementation Oversight Committee on the status of implementation of the Constitution by the following independent commissions, laid on the table of this House on Tuesday, 12 November 2024. 1, the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights. 2, the National Land Commission. And 3, the National Gender and Equality Commission. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 9, motion. Consideration of session of paper number 5 of 2024 on the National Green Fiscal Incentives Policy Framework. Question to be put.
I'm waiting for the two members to be seated. Honorable Hilary Kosgei, please have a seat so that I can go on my feet. Honorable members, I now put the question that this House adopts the report of the Departmental Committee on Environment, Forestry, and Mining on its consideration of the sessional paper number 5 of 2024 on the National Green Fiscal Incentives Policy Framework laid on the table of this House on Tuesday, 30th September 2025, and approve sessional paper number 5 of 2024 on the National Green Fiscal Incentives Policy Framework. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. We can now go back to
Order number 7, questions and statements.
Honorable members, allow us to go to order number 12 and then come back to questions and statements. So read out order number 12.
Order number 12, motion. Consideration of a comprehensive economic partnership agreement between the Republic of Kenya and the United Arab Emirates. Resumption of debate.
Yes, Honorable Marianne. Kitany, do you?
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the motion be amended by deleting all the words appearing immediately after the phrase United Arab Emirates on line 7 of the motion, and 2, that the consequential amendment be effected in the report thereof. And I would request Honorable Kose to second.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to second that the amendment as presented by Honorable Mary Ann. Initially, this had been amended, Honorable Speaker, and this is on data of pharmaceutical products, and secondly, on non-tariff measures in relation to health products and technologies. Initially, we thought that this would interfere with the data in terms of pharmaceutical products being brought into with new molecules within the country. But in terms of this one, this means that anybody else has a freedom to be able to bring in any other molecule so long as you can register it within the country, and that will be able to treat even the same disease. It does not prohibit anyone else bringing in a different molecule for the same treatment. Honorable Speaker, on this issue of non-tariffs, you find that the agreement talks about unless otherwise stipulated, which implies that we are all subjected to the WTO agreement, which is which every country be able to sign. So that non-tariffs will not be able to introduce anything on pharmaceuticals that will be able to increase the cost, and therefore I support. I beg to second.
Honorable members, I now propose the question that the motion be amended by deleting all the words appearing immediately after the phrase United Arab Emirates on line 7 of the motion, and that the consequential amendments be effected in the report thereof. Okay, Honorable Nyika.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I did actually move the amendment, one of the amendments. The committee moved the other amendment. And Honorable Speaker, I want to say that in my view, really we should have let the amendments be carried. As much as the details do indicate that there are provisions, I do not see why we really should, at times, should actually take risks and pass something that actually has the possibility, however slight it is, to actually cause us discomfort or interfere with our pharmaceutical industry, particularly new products and particularly regulation that will be required in relation to non-tariffs. So, Madam Speaker, in my view, I would have thought, I believe that we should actually let those amendments stand. Thank you.
Majority Leader.
Honorable Speaker, I rise to support that particular amendment, and as the second of the motion has said, there were indications initially from the Committee of Health that there was likely to be problems with the pharmaceutical industry. But I can confirm, Honorable Speaker, we did get a letter on the concerns from the Pharmacies and Poisons Board that the issues that the committee had reservations on are very well addressed within the agreement, and the agreement will not in any way interfere with the mandate of the Pharmacy and Poisons Board in terms of being able to regulate the safety and efficacy of drugs in our country. And two, Honorable Speaker, the other reservation that was there on data protection, that already exists even under the Copyright Act and the patents laws, that patents are protected for a period of 20 years, whereas what the agreement is seeking to do is to protect data that someone has researched on, invested in, and you're just giving that protection for 5 years, that data cannot be shared with a third party. But it does not in any way curtail the work of the Pharmacy and Poisons Board. And I must also commend the Honorable Nyikal, the Honorable Pukose, who we had a very detailed engagement yesterday together with the Minister for Trade and officials from KIPI and the Pharmacy and Poisons Board for their help in being able to resolve this matter, and therefore support and beg the House to support.
The mood of the House that we should put the question. So, honorable members, I now put the question that the motion be amended by deleting all the words appearing immediately after the phrase United Arab Emirates on line 7 of the motion, and that the consequential amendments be effected in the report thereof. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? Nay. The ayes have it. Therefore, honorable members, I'll now go back to order 12. Mover to reply. The mover be called to reply.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to reply.
So, honorable members, I now put the question that this House adopts the report of the Departmental Committee on Trade, Industry and Cooperatives on its consideration of the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement between the Republic of Kenya and the United Arab Emirates, laid on the table of this House on Thursday, 13th November 2025, and pursuant to the provisions of Section 8.4 of the Treaty Making and Ratification Act, Cap 4D, approves the ratification of the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement between the Republic of Kenya and the United Arab Emirates. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. So, honorable members, now we can go back to questions and statements.
Order number 7, questions and statements.
Yes, I better read the message first. Yeah. Honorable members, before we start this, sorry, I know that I said we go to order number 7, questions and statements, but allow me to go back to messages as the message has just arrived now. We were waiting for it. So read out order number 3. Read out order number 3. Messages.
Order number 3, messages.
Honorable members, I have a message on the nomination of a person as the Commission Secretary and Chief Executive Officer of the Salaries and Remuneration Commission, SRC. Honorable members, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order number 42, I wish to convey a message from the Chairperson, Salaries and Remuneration Commission, relating to nomination of a person for appointment as the Commission Secretary and Chief Executive Officer of the Salaries and Remuneration Commission, SRC. In the message, the Chairperson conveys that pursuant to provisions of Article 250(12) of the Constitution, and in accordance with the procedure set out in Section 16(1) of the Salaries and Remuneration Commission Act, Cap 412D, the Commission nominates Mr. Ali Abdullahi Sura as the Commission Secretary and Chief Executive Officer of the Salaries and Remuneration Commission, SRC. The Commission now seeks the approval of the nominee. Honorable members, Standing Order 45 provides that upon receipt of notification of nomination for appointment, such nomination shall stand committed to the relevant departmental committee for consideration. Pursuant to the provisions of the said Standing Order, I hereby refer the message, the curriculum vitae, and other related documents from the Salaries and Remuneration Commission to the Departmental Committee on Labor for its consideration. Honorable members, the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act 2012 requires the National Assembly to undertake the exercise within 28 days. However, aware that the House will be proceeding on a long recess on the 5th of December 2025, the committee is expected to immediately commence the approval process, notify the nominee and the public of the time and place for holding the approval hearings, and thereafter, upon the conclusion of the hearing, table its report to the House to enable the House to consider the matter within the statutory timelines, preferably before recess. Thank you. Finally, go to questions and statements. And I think we'll start, we can read out again, just for record purposes. We are okay, we already read it. Okay, let's proceed. I think the first statement that we have is we have a general statement by the member from Mboni, Honorable Erastus Nzioka, and the demise of a former member of parliament.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise to give a general statement on the passing of Honorable Joseph Consolo Munyao. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 259D, subsection 2, I rise to pay tribute to the former Member of Parliament for Mboni constituency, a former minister and a distinguished statesman, Honorable Joseph Consolo Munyao. Honorable Speaker, the late Honorable Munyao passed away on Saturday, 22nd November 2025, after a short illness. He was born on 4th May 1940 in the then Makueni district, now Makueni County. He began his education at Kibaoni Primary School, proceeded to Makueni Intermediate School, and later joined Machakos School, where he studied between 1958 and 1961. Even in the formative years, he was known for discipline, leadership, and an unwavering commitment to excellence, traits that would define his life of service. Honorable Speaker, before joining politics, Honorable Munyao had an exemplary and diverse career in public service and financial administration. Between 1962 and 1975, he worked in the banking sector in the office of the President and in the manufacturing sector. He also served as a financial attaché at the Kenyan Embassy in Moscow. Honorable Speaker, Honorable Munyao later joined elective politics and went on to serve the people of Booni constituency with distinction. He was first elected to Parliament on a Kanu ticket to represent Booni constituency from 1983 to 1988, which was the 5th Parliament. He was then nominated from 1997 to 2002 during the 8th Parliament, and subsequently elected from 2002 to 2007 during the 9th Parliament. During his time in this House, he distinguished himself as a thoughtful, principled, and development-oriented legislator. He served in several committees, including the Committee on Security. He also served as a Minister of Livestock and Development in the NAC government. His work with government and national institutions was consistently guided by a firm commitment to improving the lives of ordinary Kenyans. Honorable Speaker, even after leaving Parliament, the late Honorable Munyao continued to serve the nation in various capacities. His dedication to national development, his mentorship to young leaders, and his voice of wisdom during periods of social and political transition remained invaluable to his community and the country in general. Honorable Speaker, on behalf of the people of Booni constituency, and indeed on behalf of this House, I wish to convey our deepest condolences to his family, his friends, and all who benefited from the leadership and generosity. As we prepare to bid him farewell, may we continue to honor a devoted public servant, a committed family man, and a patriot whose legacy will live on for generations to come. May the Almighty God grant comfort to the bereaved family and strength to all who mourn this great leader, and may God rest the soul of Honorable Joseph Consolo Munyao in eternal peace. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Speaker, tomorrow, Friday, 28th November 2025, there will be a funds drive in honor of late Munyao at 6 o'clock at his residence in Karen, Miotoni Road. Thank you.
Honorable Ngusia, you wanted to be brief.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, let me take this opportunity to convey message of condolences to the family of late Munyao, the former member of Parliament of Booni constituency. Madam Speaker, I met Munyao the first time 2002 when he was actually constituting the NAC government. And I recall that day I was in university and he invited us to a political forum, the students of university. And that is the time I met Honorable Charity Ngilu, Mwai Kibaki, and Munyao himself and Kijana Wamalwa when they were just forming NAC government. And to me, I have worked with him in many journeys of life, and he will be remembered as one of the most development-oriented legislator because when he was in NAC office, he was assigned the duties of Minister of Livestock in that government, and he really did very well in terms of livestock development matters, Madam Speaker. He was also a very humble man. He could interact with anybody from anywhere, regardless of social, economic status of that person. So, Madam Speaker, this country has lost a great man who will be remembered for his humility. And on behalf of the people of Mwingi West and my family, I wish to convey condolences to his family and friends who he impacted during his life. I would say, may dear Lord rest his soul in eternal peace. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
I'd agree to give one more person, Honorable Member for Dagoretti.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and it is on my behalf and on behalf of my family and the people of Dagoretti South that I stand to send a message of condolence to the family of the Honorable Munyao and the people of Mboni. Indeed, Madam Speaker, I have a very special attachment to Mboni constituency. The Honorable Kivasu is my member of parliament by dint of being the representative of the people who hail from Mboni, and key among them being my mother. My birth mother, Honorable Hannah Ndindi Motiso, is actually from Mboni, and this was her former MP, the Honorable Munyao. Madam Speaker, it has to be said that the Honorable Munyao is among the last of a dying breed of politicians. Politicians who were principled, who stood for something, who were very patriotic, not only to their people in the village, but to the country of Kenya. Madam Speaker, when the story of the Honorable Munyao is written, there will be a whole chapter on his participation in the formation of the Democratic Party and the rise of one of the finest leaders in Africa, the Honorable Mwai Kibaki. Being a lifelong friend of Honorable Mwai Kibaki, the Honorable Munyao did exceptionally well in the promotion of the campaign that led to a landslide win by Honorable Kibaki in the year 2002. Not only did he participate in that campaign, he went on to form government in one of the most best performing governments that this country has seen. So, Honorable Speaker, when we mourn the Honorable Munyao, we are not only joining the people of Mboni in mourning their former MP, we are actually mourning the passing of a great and illustrious leader who leaves a great legacy that will outlive him. His name will live longer than his mortal life has lived. Honorable Speaker, I want to pass special message back home to Uncle Ambua and all my relatives in Mboni to say pole sana, and we shall be joining the family in giving a decent send-off to this very illustrious son of Kenya. Poleni sana Mboni, poleni sana Mheshimiwa Kivasu, and poleni to the people of Kenya who value such dignified leaders. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
I think I'll give a special indulgence for Honorable Member for Elders.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I have known the Honorable Munyao as a nominated MP, as a Secretary General of the Democratic Party, and then later on as a Minister for Livestock. Madam Speaker, in 1999, when members of Parliament started agitating for their rights, I vividly remember the Honorable Munyao used to live in Langata. We formed a group of about 17 wise men, comprising of all members of Parliament and the young legislators. And at times we will meet at the odd hours and say, look, how do we circumvent the challenges and the stumbling block by the executive? And ultimately, the Honorable Munyao, at times when we were so tired, at times when we were so annoyed, he will say, no, it's not yet. Hold on, don't give up. But let me say this, Madam Speaker, that as a Muslim, we believe death is a must. And we say, Kullu nafsin dha'iqatul maut. Till come, regardless of what you think about it, regardless of how you have conducted yourself, and God will decide the time, the place, and how it's supposed to be taken away. And therefore, to the people of Mboni, to the family of the late Munyao, to the Kenyan people, we have lost a great leader. But I think I must say this, it's not just enough to condole with families when one has passed away. We must also appreciate the lives, the contributions of these great men and women when they are still alive, so that we learn a lot from them. And I think it is high time that the elites, the intellectuals, must start documenting the contributions, the positive contributions of some of these great men and women, so that we leave these for the next generation actually to learn, because Kenya is not about to come to an end. We'll all go one way or the other, but Kenya shall remain as a sovereign republic. And therefore, Madam Speaker, I say pole, and I hope and pray that the family and the friends will find solace in his rich legacy. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Okay, you also want to give your condolences? Okay, proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, allow me also to take this opportunity to condole with the family of the late Munyao. And the late Munyao goes down in history as a very good leader in our country. Were it not for the late Munyao, we probably would never have had the opportunity to have the services that were rendered to this country by President Mwai Kibaki, the late. It is men like the late Munyao who courageously supported the late Mwai Kibaki, supported his party, the Democratic Party of Kenya, which was then a very strong party that went on to work together with other opposition parties to form the NAC coalition of 2002 that obliterated the then KANU regime. And were it not for the resilience of leaders like Honorable Munyao and his leadership as Secretary General of the Democratic Party, we probably would never have enjoyed the kind of leadership that we enjoyed from the late President Mwai Kibaki. And I pay glowing tribute to the late Munyao, condole with his family, and pray that the Almighty God may rest his soul in eternal peace as he comforts his family to be able to move on with life even in the absence of their father and the patriarch of their family. Indeed, it's a great loss not to the people of the constituency that he represented when he was a member of parliament, to the people of Ukambani, but to all Kenyans and political parties in our country. But also sad, Honorable Speaker, that we are paying tribute to a great leader of the then vibrant Democratic Party. Honorable Speaker, you know today Democratic Party is a pale shadow of what it was during the times of the late Munyao as Secretary General. I have been shocked, Honorable Speaker, this morning to watch with a lot of embarrassment and shame as a member of parliament when somebody who served this house as a former speaker for 10 years, you know, stoops to the level of fighting with young village boys. People who are the ages of, not of his son, but his grandson. The late Munyao would turn in his grave, had he been rested, if he imagined that the party he led would have people purporting to be its leaders today who are fighting with people, young men and women who are the age of their grandchildren. And you know, it's shameful for our former speaker, the Honorable J.B. Muturi, to allow himself, even with the frustration of losing elections. The elections will come and go. But your respect as an elder, your respect as a former speaker, former cabinet secretary, former attorney general, a grandfather, a father, a husband. Mr. Former Speaker, you should never allow yourself, as frustrated as you are, allow the people of Mbeere to make their choice, and they will make their choice. And you know, you cannot whip people to vote for your candidate, and you cannot box our young men and women to vote for your candidate. Please, Mr. Former Speaker, allow the people of Mbeere to elect their new member of parliament without boxing them, without intimidating them. And, you know, God forbid that when time comes, we will pay glowing tribute to each other's participation as leaders. But now when we start reducing, Honorable Speaker, you know, as a speaker, that seat that you are sitting on, Honorable Speaker, the people of Kenya watch you every Tuesday to Thursday afternoon and Wednesday mornings as you preside over the National Assembly. This is the third most powerful position in the Republic of Kenya. When you serve in that position, you can never reduce yourself to the level J.B. Muturi is reducing himself and reducing this House. And I must say I'm ashamed to have had a speaker like that, Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
Honorable members, let us be upstanding and observe a minute of silence in honor of the late Honorable Munyao. May God rest the soul of the Honorable Joseph Konzolo Munyao in eternal peace. We have a statement a request for a statement by the Honorable Charles Ngusia. You're present.
Yes, Madam Speaker. Pursuant to provision of Study in Order 44.2c, I rise to request for a statement from the Chairperson of Departmental Committee on the Administration and Internal Security regarding investigations into the death of Ms. Lucia Kithuka in Kitui County. Honorable Speaker, on 17th of October 2024, Ms. Mukite Kithuka, a resident of Mwingi West constituency, was found dead under unclear circumstances at her home stayed in Kanya Village, Migwani Ward, Kitui County. The family immediately reported the incidents at Ngutani Police Station at OB number 02-18-10-2024. On 10th February 2025, the son to the deceased, Mr. Jeffrey Kaluku Kithuka, began receiving death threats, which appear to be aimed at deterring him from pursuing justice for the death of his mother. He reported these threats at Ngutani Police Station under OB number 2710-02-2025. Regrettably, no investigations were undertaken into the death of Ms. Lucia until 7th April 2025. When the matter was finally referred to the Kitui County Criminal Investigation Officer, prompting several witnesses to be called to the record to record statements, the family in distress, as no suspects has been arraigned before a court of law for the death of Ms. Lucia Mukiti to date. Yet they continue to receive death threats believed to be from the perpetrator. Despite numerous visits to the police station to follow upon on the status of the investigation, no substantive information has been provided to the family. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I seek a statement of the Chairperson of Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security on the following. 1. Report on the status of investigation to the death of Ms. Lucia Mukite Kithuka, reported under OB number 02-18-10-24 at Nkutani Police Station, and an indication of any arrest made relating to this matter. 2. The action taken by the police to investigate the threat made to Mr. Jeffrey Kaluku Kithuka and reported under OB number 2710-02-2025, and measures taken to ensure protection of the family and witnesses who have recorded their statement. 3. The measures put in place by the Minister of Interior and National Administration to enhance safety in Mwingi West constituencies, considering the rise in cases of insecurity in the area. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Chairperson, Administration and Internal Security.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, this is about death, and I think life of Kenyans is really important. Considering that next week we are going on the long recess, we'll ask the ministry to respond to us in 2 weeks, and then we'll give honorable colleague the response from the ministry. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
And honorable members, before we proceed, allow me to recognize the presence of Light International School from Westlands constituency, Nairobi County, who are seated in the Speaker's gallery. On behalf of the National Assembly, we welcome you to the presence of Parliament. Thank you. The next is a request for statement by the Honorable Anthony Mupe, member for Rubai. Are you present?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I rise to raise a request for statement regarding the recently concluded Kenya Defence Forces recruitment exercise in Ruruma Ward, Rabai constituency. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 44-2C, I raise to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Defense, Foreign and Relations concerning the recently concluded Kenya Defense Forces recruitment exercise in Ruruma Ward, Rabai constituency. Honorable Speaker, on 15 September 2025, the Ministry of Defense advertised the recruitment of General Service Officers, Cadets, Special Officers, General Duty Defense Forces, Constable to the Kenya Defense Forces. When the Ministry released a report on the outcome of this exercise, this report indicates that only one person from Ruruma location was recruited. During the recruitment exercise, both Ruruma and Mawesa wards were categorized under the former Mawesa division, which was degazetted on 2018. While the subdivision and gazettement of the administrative units, Ruruma was subdivided into Ruruma, Mawesa, and Mikaani location, which now exist independently under the former Mawesa division. However, the reorganization was not reflected during the recruitment exercise. This anomaly has caused discontent among the residents of Ruruma Ward, particularly the youth who feel unfairly denied the opportunity to serve their country through the KDF. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I request for the statement from the Chairperson Departmental Committee on Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations on the following. 1. Plans by the Minister of Defense to ensure Ruruma locations attains fair, proportionate representation in KDF recruitment exercise in accordance with the constitutional requirements and principle of fairness, equity, and regional balances. 2. Measures the ministry has put in place to prevent similar oversights in future recruitment exercise. 3. Infrastructure and strategic intervention being implemented by the ministry in the coast region to ensure that youth have equitable opportunity to serve their country, national forces. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Chairperson, who's representing the Chairperson for Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations? Okay, Majority Leader, you can give an undertaking.
Honorable Speaker, allow me, because without anticipation, Honorable Speaker, we are bound to go on recess. I ask the Chair of the Defense and Foreign Relations Committee to be able to deal with this within the first week after recess.
Okay, and next statement, request for statement by the Honorable Amos Mwago, member for Starehe, but I think he has deferred it. It's just to have it on a later date. So we go to the next one. The next request is by the Honorable Ade Wario, member for North Hall.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to provision of Standing Order 44-2C, I wish to request for assessment from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Tourism and Wildlife regarding the underutilization of key heritage, ecological, and tourism sites in northern Kenya. Honorable Speaker, tourism is a key driver of our economy and a significant contributor to economic activity in the country. Northern Kenya is fortunate to host numerous sites rich in cultural heritage that are essential for tourism development and economic growth. These sites include Sibiloi National Park, the archaeological sites in the Lake Turkana Basin, which is the biggest in Africa, and the Chalbi Desert, which is the true and the largest in East Africa. These sites present immense potential for tourism, ecological research, and cultural preservation. Despite this, these sites remain largely undeveloped and economically underleveraged. As a result, the region suffers from limited infrastructure, low tourism traffic, and minimal investment in conservation and research. Further, opportunities for tourism growth and employment opportunities, global partnership in scientific and cultural research, and increased revenue through ecotourism and heritage tourism continue to be lost. Honorable Speaker, it is against this backdrop that a request for a settlement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Tourism and Wildlife on the following. Plans by the government to promote tourism, conservation, and research in Sibiloi National Park, the Turkana Basin archaeological sites, and the Chalbi Desert. 2, steps taken by the Minister of Tourism to engage and empower local communities in managing and benefiting economically through these sites. And finally, measures being undertaken by the ministry to collaborate with the research institutions or private sector investment to unlock the full potential of these tourism and heritage sites. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Who's representing the chairperson for Tourism and Wildlife? Not here, so that falls on you, Majority Leader. Honorable Kangogo, stop occupying the Majority Leader. The statement was directed at the Tourism and Wildlife Committee. You can give an undertaking on their behalf.
Honorable Speaker, again, just like the Defense and Foreign Relations, allow me to relate to the Chair to respond to it within the first week of the new session after the recess, since it may not be possible for them to engage in reports before Thursday next week.
Okay, now we have the last request for a statement by the Honorable Member for Wundanyi, Honorable Mwashako.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I raise to request for a statement regarding compensation to civil servants retrenched under the Civil Service Reform Program. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 44-2C, I rise to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Labor regarding the compensation of civil servants retrenched under the Civil Service Reform Program 2 of 2000. Honorable Speaker, the Kenya Retrenched Workers Association, KERWA, sought redress from the government for the civil servants who were retrenched under the Civil Service Reform Program 2 of the year 2000, which their efforts have been futile. This resulted to them seeking redress in courts for compensation in the case of Peter Buie Gichoi and others versus the Honorable Attorney General Nakuru HCC 395 of 2001, 2012, EKLR, and James Nyagie and others versus the Honorable Attorney General case number 55 of 2013, into brackets 2015 EKLR. The petitioners sought orders of the Court for the Civil Service Reform Program implemented as a medium-term strategy between 1998 and the year 2002 to be declared illegal and unconstitutional, and in breach of the law and therefore null and void. The court issued judgment in their favor and provided the payment of their full benefits amounting to Kenya shillings 1,575,528,510 Kenya shillings. Honorable Speaker, it is reported that the Ministry of Public Service, Performance and Delivery Management requested the National Treasury to provide Kenya shillings 1,657,091,994 in the budget for the financial year 2024-2025 to cater for the payment of the full benefit of the retained civil servants. In addition, the Ministry of Labour and Social Protection verified a list of officers who worked for the government in various capacities and were retrenched in the year 2002. It is unfortunate that compensation of these former civil servants have been inordinately delayed, resulting in many of them living in hardship and unable to afford basic necessities due to difficult economic circumstances. Honorable Speaker, it is against this backdrop that I request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Labour on the following. 1, a status report on payment of compensation to these former civil servants, including reasons for the inordinate delay by government despite the court ruling made in their favor. 2, the measures being put in place by the government to promptly provide compensation to retrenched civil servants and mechanism for redress in case of retrenchments. And lastly, an indication of when these senior citizens will be paid their rightful dues. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. I think that goes to the Committee of Labour. They're not here. ML, you can also respond to that.
Honorable Speaker, again, many of our chairs are out with their committees finalizing on a number of reports that they need to finalize before the end of the financial year. But I will relay the Honorable Mwashako's issue to the chair, and probably, again, if he will indulge us to have the response done within the first week after recess.
Thank you. Next statement is by Majority Leader. You have your weekly statement.
Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 44-2A, I rise to give the following statement on behalf of the House Business Committee, which met on Tuesday, 25th November 2025, to prioritize business for consideration during the week. Honorable Speaker, as members are aware, the House is expected to proceed on its long Christmas recess next week, at the end of next week on Thursday. I therefore want to urge committees to expedite with any pending business to enable its conclusion before the annual suspension of committee sittings. And Honorable Speaker, that is the reason why you will see very many chairs and their vice chairs are not in the House, because quite a number of committees are sitting in retreats to be able to finalize with this business. Allow me also, honorable members, to encourage all of us to be present during this last week of the fourth session so that the House concludes with all that is required before we commence the break. Honorable Speaker, with regards to business scheduled for Tuesday next week, the House is expected to consider the Judges' Retirement Benefits Bill 2025 at second reading, if not concluded this afternoon. The House will also consider the Senate amendments to the Cooperatives Bill of 2024 in Committee of the Whole House if the mediated version of the bill is agreed on by the committee. Additionally, Honorable Speaker, debate will be undertaken on the following motions, some of which are also listed on today's order paper. One is a procedural motion on exemption of business from the Provisional Standing Order 141-2. 2 is consideration of comprehensive economic partnership agreement between the Republic of Kenya and the United Arab Emirates, which we just passed this afternoon, Honorable Speaker. 3 is consideration of public finance management government press fund regulations of 2025. 4 is consideration of Public Finance Management, Sports, Arts, and Social Development Fund Amendment Regulations of 2025. 5 is consideration of Senate amendments to the Cooperatives Bill of 2024. 6 is a report of the audited accounts for the Judiciary Mortgage Scheme Fund for the financial years 2011-2012 to 2021-2022. 7 is consideration of sessional paper number 5 of 2023 on the national policy on labor migration. 8 is reports on the audited accounts for the Stores and Services Fund for the financial years 2020-2021 and 2021-2022, and the Occupational Safety and Health Fund for the financial years 2020-2021 and 2021-2022. Reports on the audited accounts for the Land Settlement Fund for the financial years 2020-2021 and 2021-2022, and the Railway Development Fund holding account for the financial years 2017-2018 to 2021-2022. 9 is consideration of a petition regarding pollution of River Athi, and 11, report on the inquiry into the conduct of a British Army training unit in Kenya, Batuk. Honorable Speaker, in accordance with the provisions of Standing Order 42A, 5 and 6, I wish to convey the Cabinet Secretary for Agriculture and Livestock Development is scheduled to appear before the House on the afternoon of Wednesday, 3rd December 2025, to respond to the following questions. 1, question number 082 of 2025 by nominated member, the Honorable Dorothy Kiara, MP, regarding the criteria used to determine the rates of annual bonuses paid to tea farmers across the different regions and factories in the country. 2 is question number 083 of 2025 by the member for Muhoroni, the Honorable James Koyo, MP, regarding terms and conditions of the lease agreements for the state-owned sugar farms, including how the government intends to invest or utilize the lease proceeds for the benefit of the local communities. And 3 is question number 084 of 2025 by the member for Igembe Central, the Honorable Daniel Karido, MP, regarding measures being taken by the ministry to ensure accurate reporting of Miraa export data, safeguard government revenue, and promote equitable support for the Miraa sector in terms of research, marketing, infrastructure, and budgetary allocations. In conclusion, Honorable Speaker, the House Business Committee shall reconvene again on Tuesday, 2nd December 2025, to schedule any other business for the rest of the week. I now wish to lay this statement on the table of the House. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. And honorable members, before we go to order number 10, there's a communication that was supposed to make earlier. It has just arrived. Honorable members, I wish to guide the House on the procedure for the consideration of the product sharing contracts and the field development plan for the blocks T6 and T7 located in South Lokichar Basin, Turkana County, which have been tabled by the leader of Majority Party. These documents were submitted to the House by the Cabinet Secretary for Energy and Petroleum in accordance to Article 71(1) of the Constitution as read together with Section 31(1) of the Petroleum Act, Cap 308 of the laws of Kenya. For clarity, Article 71(1) of the Constitution states, and I quote, in Clause 1, a transaction is subject to ratification by Parliament if A, it involves the grant of a right or concession by or on behalf of any person, including the national government, or to another person for exploitation of natural resources of Kenya. And B, is entered into effect on or before the effective date. Honorable members, you may wish to note that this is the first instance that the Houses of Parliament are required to ratify an agreement for exploitation of natural resources in accordance to Article 71(1) of the Constitution. In this regard, I wish to outline the requirements of the Petroleum Act, Cap 308, and the Natural Resources Classes of Transactions Subject to Ratification Act, Cap 387B, to be followed by the Houses of Parliament in consideration of the agreement table at the House. For context, Section 31(2) of the Petroleum Act provides as follows. Parliament shall, within 60 days after receipt of the production sharing contract and the field development plan under subsection 1, A, ratify the production sharing contract and the field development plan, or B, refuse to ratify the production sharing contract and the field development plan and refer the documents back to the Cabinet Secretary for reconsideration, stating the reasons for the refusal. Honorable members, a clear reading of these provisions reveals that, that Parliament is required to have made a decision within 60 days on ratification of the product sharing contract and the field development plan. It is also important to note that whereas Section 31 of the Petroleum Act provides a timeline of 60 days for both houses, Section 10(2) of the Natural Resources Classes of Transactions Subject to Ratification Act provides that the National Assembly shall consider the agreement within 30 days of its submission to the National Assembly and shall forward the resolution to Senate for consideration. For clarity, Section 10(3) of the Natural Resources Classes of Transactions Subject to Ratification Act further provides, and I quote, in Section 10(3), if within 30 days of submission of an agreement to the National Assembly, the National Assembly has not forwarded its resolution on the agreement to the Senate shall commence its consideration of the agreement and shall forward the resolution to the National Assembly. So, honorable members, I'm aware that the same documents have been submitted to Senate. Consequently, I hereby refer the product sharing contract and the field development plan for blocks T6 and T7 located in South Lokichar Basin to the Departmental Committee on Energy for consideration, including undertaking public participation pursuant to Section 31(3) of the Petroleum Act Cap 308. Honorable members, just for your noting, Section 15 of the Natural Resources Classes of Transactions Subject to Ratification Act, Cap 387B, provides as follows with respect to the counting of the 60-day period specified in Section 10 of the same Act. In Section 15, it says computation of time. Where under this Act, the computation of time depends on the parliamentary calendar, the period during which Parliament is not in session shall be excluded from the computation. Honorable members, conscious of the fact that the House will be proceeding on a long recess on the 5th December 2025, the time will stop running upon adjournment of the House for recess and resume upon resumption of regular sittings of the House and its committees on Tuesday, 10th February 2026. This being the case, the statutory timeline will lapse on Wednesday, 4th March 2026. Honorable members, the Departmental Committee on Energy is required to notify the public and the relevant stakeholders in good time to submit their memoranda. Thereafter, upon resumption of our sittings, the committee is to undertake public participation and submit its report to the House by Tuesday, the 24th of February, to enable the House to consider the product sharing contract and field development plan within the provided statutory timelines. The House is accordingly guided. Thank you. Next order. Order number 10, read it.
Order number 10, motion, debate on the President's address, fourth and final day.
Point of order, Majority Leader.
Honorable Speaker, I wanted to beg your indulgence, if it's not out of time, to request if we can reorder to start with the Judges' Retirement Benefits Bill, order number 11, before we proceed to order number 10.
I think that I can grant that request. So read out order number 11, and then we'll come back to order number 10.
Order number 11, the Judges' Retirement Benefits Bill, National Assembly Bill number 27 of 2025, second reading, resumption of debate.
seconds. Where's the mover? Oh, okay. You can reply, Majority Leader.
Honorable Speaker, I think this bill had already been debated by members, and 99.99% of all the members who contributed, I say 99.99, because probably there might be one who was not here who would have opposed this bill. But 99.99% supported this bill for our judges' retirement benefits bill of 2025. And Honorable Speaker, you know, for a long time, the pension of judges have continued to be governed under the Pensions Act of Cap 189, a framework, Honorable Speaker, which, foundationally, in its time, was good, is no longer reflective of the evolving roles of our judicial officers and more so our senior judges, and the roles and responsibilities that they carry, and of course the expectations that we have of a vibrant and independent judiciary today. Honorable Speaker, it's not fair that we subject our judicial officers when they have served this country, and you know our judicial officers serve to the age of 70. Therefore, at the age of 70, Honorable Speaker, to subject someone who has diligently served his nation to the indignity of going to queue at the National Treasury to pursue their pension payments is not fair to these people who are otherwise seniors in our society, not seniors in terms of the seniority of the positions that they held as judges, but also in age. And therefore, it is only fair that we transition their pension in the manner in which it was provided for this bill. And because Honorable Speaker is just in reply, I don't want to go back to what was said at the time of moving, but it's a very progressive piece of legislation, one that will ensure that judges in their retirement live with the dignity that they deserve, Honorable Speaker, so that they do not suffer the indignity that many of them have suffered in the past. And Honorable Speaker, when you serve as a judge, it's like the position that you are serving in as Speaker today. You are looked at in a way that the society where you came from, where you live, they have certain expectations of you. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, if you are living an undignified life, it's not just reflective of you as a person, but also of the institution that you served. And that is why, to protect the image and the integrity and the independence of our judiciary, we are obligated, and I must thank all the members of this House who supported this bill, because we are obligated to ensure that we maintain the dignity of these retired officers, even in their retirement.
What's your point of view?
I do not mind to be informed by a former Speaker, Honorable Speaker.
Entirely, wholeheartedly support what the Majority Leader is saying. But let me just also, now that he has mentioned you, the Speaker who is on the chair, Honorable Majority Leader, do you know that the only institution out of the 3 institutions where a Deputy Speaker does not enjoy a pension, a Deputy Head of the institution does not enjoy a pension, is Parliament. So while we are dealing and giving this to our brothers and sisters in the judiciary, the same way we have done it for the Deputy President, for the Vice President, for the Prime Minister, for the Deputy Prime Ministers, and all those deputies of those institutions, we have failed to do the same for the longer arm of the state or the government for that matter. So, a Majority Leader, I would expect you also in the same zeal, and we are one Majority Leader we are all very proud of, very, very proud of in the manner you have steered this House. I would expect you to bring also a similar one for the Deputy Speaker of the Senate and the National Assembly. Thank you.
You can proceed, Majority Leader.
Honorable Speaker, you know, the Honorable Farah Malim, you know, there's a member from Muranga the other day who called him Honorable Fala. And we were at pains to try and explain to the member, there's a difference between Fala and Farah. So the Honorable Farah Maalim is a distinguished member of this House who diligently served the House as a Deputy Speaker. And I want to agree with him that indeed in other institutions, the deputies of such institutions are not just an institution, an arm of government. When you are Deputy Speaker, you are a substantive office holder. That is why we elect the Deputy Speaker. The Deputy Speaker is not appointed by the Speaker or by anybody. We vote here during the first sitting of the House. As soon as we elect the Speaker, we elect a Deputy Speaker. Just like we elect the leader of minority and the leader of majority. And I want to agree with the Honorable Farah Maalim. Probably with time, only that I don't know whether I would be the right person to move that particular piece of legislation. It is high time we consider deputy speakers and leaders of majority and leaders of minority, because we are also serving constitutional offices. And it is high time we started thinking about this. And I want to encourage the Honorable Farah, since he's a distinguished member of this House and a veteran, to encourage some of our younger members to take care of the older ones also in this House, including himself and yourself, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, in terms of a pension bill that we also extend to the positions of deputy speakers, the substantive deputy speakers, probably the leaders of majority and the leaders of minority, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I was saying this bill was long overdue, and I had said, Honorable Speaker, that judges serving to the age of 70 years also offer the country the best of their productive life. Many of them you find are appointed at the ages of 40, 50, and therefore someone who served for close to 30 years in public service. And you know, again, they have limitations. They are restricted from engaging in business or active social life, that they also sacrifice a lot of their active social life, and also forgo many significant opportunities in life just to preserve their impartiality as judges, because it is said that they must be beyond Caesar's wife in terms of impartiality and being objective in the conduct of their work as judges. And therefore, we are obligated, and that's what I was saying in response, that I thank all the members who supported this bill. And I want to beseech the House that even as we conclude, that we will be able to adopt and pass this second reading, so that we may prepare to go into the third reading, and invite anyone who may have an amendment, and anyone doesn't mean members of parliament, even if they're judicial officers, judges, that maybe have found something within the debate that they need to be amended. This is the time to invite anybody who may want to engage. And I say this, Honorable Speaker, is important because, you know, Honorable Speaker, I have seen even very senior people in this country have not understood our processes. You remember during the Finance Bill of 2024, when we brought the bill, we concluded the second reading. There are many Kenyans who assumed that the bill had passed and become law. And they were incited that the bill has already passed, not knowing that that was just the second reading. Should there be any amendments, including correcting a comma or a full stop within the text of the bill, it has to go into the committee of the whole House and the third reading for you to be able to amend. And I say that so that even those out there who may want to amend anything in this bill, this is the time to approach your elected representatives to amend on your behalf. And with that, Honorable Speaker, let me say this bill will, in a very significant way, bring back the honor that those long-serving members of our judiciary deserve, and also bring great honor to the judicial officers who will be retiring. And the bill is a good and very progressive piece of legislation, Honorable Speaker, and I beg to reply and beg for your support.
Thank you. Honorable members, let's move to the next order. Order number 10. Should we resume debate? Okay, read.
Order number 10, motion, debate on the President's address, fourth and final day.
Yes, I will give Honorable Farah Malim, member for Dadaab. Yes.
The question on the judges is being deferred to another date.
Proceed, Honorable
Madam
Farah.
Speaker, can I proceed with this? Madam Speaker, I also want to go on record. Madam Speaker, I also want to join other members of Parliament in going on record of applauding and congratulating the head of state of this country for the State of the Nation address that he gave the other day, and his track record for the last 3 years, and say, indeed, in this country, we now have a transformational president. Serious economic transformational president who has an agenda, a vision, and this vision is going to take us to the next level of development. Madam Speaker, I must admit that I'm in unfamiliar waters. I cut my teeth in politics for the last 30-odd years, finding faults with the governments that were there on the day. Madam Speaker, I first came to Parliament in 1992. And I first came to Parliament in 1992. And a member behind me says that the Madam Speaker was not born then. But I must assure you that you were born, because we've known you for many years as a leader. And I was in the opposition. And I'm used to finding faults with the government of the day. I literally found faults with each and every one of them. I think I was closest to the government of Mike Kibaki, who did a lot of good things for this country. But I had issues with the equity in the allocation of the projects that were allocated during his time. I think a little bit lopsided and not as fair and as universal in this country as we have now. And I can tell you, and I've said this many times before, when we were through with the elections, His Excellency the President invited me once to go to State House, out of the blues. And when I went there, he told me, Farah, we are looking for a new Kenya. And those of you who supported me in the elections, as well as those who never supported, I want the majority leader to listen to what I'm saying. Majority leader, you are engrossed in something. You're supposed to be listening to me. I said, His Excellency, order, His Excellency, His Excellency, wait, Shakir Shabir. I want him to listen. I mean, everybody else is listening. The country is listening. The only thing is because he has to listen to what I have to say, being a ranking member. And that's it. Shakir, you didn't come to Parliament in 1992. So now can I say, I want to, and for the first time, when I was invited to the State House, His Excellency told me, look, this is going to be an administration that is going to unite this country. And I'm going to serve equally those who voted for me and those who did not vote for me, because they're all Kenyans. And Farah, expect good tidings. And you better start working out the projects that are of utmost importance in your own region. And of course, we mentioned the projects that were there. On the spot, in the same place he called, I talked about the Garissa, the Madogo, Garissa, Dadaab, Liboi, Harhar Road, in my constituency, which is supposed to be part of the great African highways that are supposed to literally connect the continent. And he called his minister for transport at that time and roads and told him, do you have programs for that? The minister had some things at his fingertips. He said, we are looking to see if we can get funding for the design of that road. He told him, accelerate that design. We need to connect the government, the country, in every way. Madam Speaker, since that time, I now have national grid going all the way to Dadaab. And I'm hoping the national grid is going to go all the way to Liboy, all the way to Harhar. And that goes for all the regions in this country, including the regions that were really left behind. And I'm talking about such regions as Luo Nyanza, Eastern Province, all of the north, all those areas. There are projects there. There are dams that have been put in. We're getting medium dams, we're getting small ponds, and we're getting the big dams also coming to the region. And that exactly is what a nation building is about. Everything that was there at that time, at the time when this administration assumed the reins of the government, we had a problem with the cost of living. It's been handled from 240 shillings to what do you call the 2 kilogram maize meal to 120, 130 now. We had issues with teaching. For the first time, we're getting almost 100,000 teachers, 76,000 employed so far. Madam Speaker, can I have 5 more minutes? Fair enough, thank you. 100,000 teachers are going to be employed in less than 4 years, in about 4 years. Doctors are getting employed. The medical field itself, all the imperfections that were there before, now there's hope. Hospitals are being built. I have a TVET in my own constituency, and in that TVET, there are going to be hostels which are going to be built for the students who are going to be there. Development is going to the 4 corners of the country, and I'm talking about Dadaab. I'm hoping also to get housing. The affordable housing is in Dadaab. Right now, we have markets. I drilled more than 45 boreholes in less than 3 years in my constituency. A record number that has not been drilled for all the 60-something years or 60-odd years before that. We have had a record number of ponds, Madam Speaker. And now we are looking at taking serious, innovational, technological steps. We are looking at an infrastructure that essentially is going to connect the 4 corners of this country. The road all the way to Mandera for us is there. Our children along that corridor are seeing tarmac for the first time. The road to Dadaab is going to start, I think, in as early as January next year. And these are the kind of things that we're looking at. I sat with some friend who was involved in the Nyayo car. I don't know if you remember the Nyayo car, a model efforts that was done by the government of the day that time. And because there was a lot of mediocrity in the discussions and the deliberations on the way forward to establish a car that today would have matched the Toyotas and the Mazdas and all these other vehicles that are also built, the Mahindras that were built in third world countries. What were hitherto third world countries, because Japan, at the time of what they call after the Second World War, was a very poor country. We threw away that because we looked at the market. You're not supposed to look at the domestic market alone. You're supposed to look at the globe, for that matter. And the fact that that would have spurred a technological takeoff that would have put us again to look for other electronic things like televisions, like what do you call it, the stereos, all those technologically advanced things, all the way to mobile phone, the telephones for now. So it is actually, when you dream and you dream big and you have a vision like this, Madam Speaker, the nation, it will be in a position to really go far. If you don't dream, and I am a perfect witness and mover and shaker of a dream in my own first time when I came in here. We had only 52 students going to universities in the north, from the north those days in the national universities in the country here. Only 52 students. Honorable Kenan was one of the student leaders who was there at that time. I put in an affirmative action motion. We started bringing in about 550 in the first year. Today, student population from the north in the universities in Kenya are more than 20% of the overall. Within 30 years, there's such a powerful transformation that we actually are unable to get jobs for the graduates from our region. Before we could not even, I was in the DAP, and the UN bodies were there, and jobs were available, and it was difficult to find even a diploma holder to be employed there by the UN. But today there's such a glut that if you want 100 doctors or 200 doctors from the north who are without jobs, you'll get them in a matter of 1 hour. And they're there going all over the world, going in other parts of the continent and other regions in the country and working as doctors, as engineers, as lawyers, as everything. So when you dream and you take the first steps towards that dream and that vision, you will definitely get somewhere. Before you can take off and reach that pinnacle, you must initially dream and take deliberate steps towards that. That dream itself, that vision itself. And you are definitely going to go very far. Madam Speaker, I had the benefit. Can I have a few more minutes, Madam Speaker? 2 more minutes just to wrap. And ask Shabir Shakil to, if he's a bit sick these days, let him nurse his wounds. I can see he holds his hands always with a sling. I don't know who bet him. But anyway, I had the benefit of going to a prestigious university or school of business in South Korea for one of the modules of the MBA course I was doing. And he was with me also, yes. And I agree with that. He was with me. And what happened is that when you see what South Korea was at the time we got independence, the president of the time, who was a military ruler, was called Park Chung-hee. He was so broke. He needed $800,000, less than $1 million, to facilitate his own delegation to go all over Europe and America, looking for scholarships for children or students from South Korea in the field of technology. And he didn't have that money. He had to come and borrow it from Kenyatta, Jomo Kenyatta. He came here on a visit and borrowed that amount of money. Madam Speaker, as a former deputy speaker, sometimes I should get a little bit more time than the others. Anyway, can I have 2 more minutes just to wrap it up? And ask Shakir Shabir to respect seniority. Now, he went all over these countries and got 3,000 scholarships in prestigious universities in America and in Europe for students from South Korea in only the field of technology. Only the field of technology. Whereas we're taking a lot of time in our country right now training procurement guys and BAs and other things that do not help us in that technological off-take. He got those 3,000. Those 3,000 went to the top schools in the world. And they're the ones who came back and spurred the technological takeoff of South Korea in the way it is. And in 45 years, they're able to do what they did, which is unbelievable. I mean, from having the same GDP as us, today their GDP is $2.8 trillion? And ours is only $136 billion. That is what made the difference. Now it's never too late. I see ourselves right now as taking off in the same manner as that dreaming, visionary South Korean president, who was a military dictator, went on a mission to make sure his country becomes a first world in the shortest possible time. And it did. Now we have taken off ourselves. We need to give all the support to our president. We need to walk the talk with him. We need to eliminate all these naysayings and the rest and petty things. The other day somebody said, when it was asked, Lee Kuan Yew was asked, how were you able to perform so much better than our own country when we were together at the same level at the time of independence? He said, you killed your visionary Tom Mboya. South Koreans did not kill me.
Okay, next, Honorable Millie Odhiambo, member for Suba North.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. And Madam Speaker, I want to thank the President for the State of the Nation address that has spoken to very, very many issues. And I wish to indicate that very good coincidence that it fell on the 20th of November, which is also the International Day of the Child. And for many of us, you know, I'm very passionate about the issues of the protection of a child. And Madam Speaker, even though I noticed that was not given primacy, the President spoke a lot to the issues of hardware, of especially development, but I wish there was also a lot of attention. I know the reports have issues of attention on issues of human rights and all that, but I wish it was also given as much primacy, especially as we are also celebrating the 16 days of activism on gender-based violence. And it is very unfortunate that we are seeing a lot of violence, especially during these by-elections, and praying that we can take very firm action. In almost virtually every place where there is elections, there is violence. And I see people giving a lot of excuses about primaries and all that, saying about our political party should have given be fair in nominations. But you find somebody who is violent, who never took part in any political party primaries. They went straight to be independent candidates or came with their own parties, but are still extremely violent. And I'm hoping the government can really take firm action and our courts can punish people very firmly so that we don't excuse or allow violence. Having said that, Madam Speaker, because I know I have very short time, I don't want to speak to the issues of economy that everybody has spoken about. I just want to acknowledge that one of the areas that is normally not noticed as part of national government is NGCDF. And I want to thank the national government for acknowledging that together with NGCDF, the government has delivered 23,000 new classrooms and 1,600 laboratories are still under construction. That has enabled the easing of congestion and giving CBC the dignified facilities that it needs. And Madam Speaker, a lot of us do not realize it, but NGCDF has done a lot of work to change, enable access to education in our communities, especially the rural communities. Another thing, Madam Speaker, is also the issue of TVETs that has also changed economic situations. If for young people, that many of the people who come out of TVETs are able to get self-employment. Madam Speaker, it has actually said that the enrollment has leaped from 341,000 in 2022 to 718,000 as young Kenyans embrace engineering, ICT, modern agriculture, hospitality, design, and trades that power a modern economy. I can actually attest that in my own constituency, again with NGCDF, working together with the Ministry of Education, built a TTI at Waondo, and the place has actually just transformed from a small village to now it's almost a town. But above that, you can actually see what the young people are able to do. They are the ones who are building other facilities now within the institutions. They've done the walls, they are doing the toilets, and they are able to be used already, meaning that when they live there, they'd be able to really go out into the community. Madam Speaker, I'd also want to talk to the issue of affordable housing, and I'd request, Madam Speaker, with your kind permission, if I could have just two more minutes, because I can see I have, my time is almost up. But I just wanted to speak.
You can add more time.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I just wanted to say that affordable housing is really a very noble thing. I was very hesitant when it first started, especially for those of us who represent rural constituencies. Madam Speaker, however, I want to say that when I actually saw the affordable housing in Homa Bay town, it's one of the really, really good initiatives, and I wish that the other affordable housing models could emulate what was done in Homa Bay town, because it gives very decent housing, decent and dignified housing to people. Space, and also, with a lot of, space and even for the houses themselves. They are 1, 2-bedroom and 3-bedroom. So I think it's really a good thing. Madam Speaker, the only challenge that I think we need to face is when you have situations like in Makongeni in Nairobi, where there are people that are being moved, who have stayed there for years, and the government has done a good thing because each of them is being paid 150,000. But I think sometimes where the government is well-intentioned, people mess up situations like that. And you find that there are people who have not been paid their 150,000 because of very minor problems. So you find that sometimes some of those people, because most of them also have rural constituencies, I have people who are originally from my own constituency who are there, so they are stuck, they're looking for alternative accommodation, they don't have money, yet the government has availed 150,000 for them to relocate. We know that there was a point that railway stopped changing the cards of ownership, yet there are people who have stayed there for more than 20 years. I would want to request that the appeals that have been placed in situations like that be considered and be considered very quickly so that we don't have people staying out in the cold. I'd also want to make a very special request that when you have religious institutions like Makongeni SDA Church, that is already there, which even the president himself contributed to, but is also being earmarked for destruction. Yes, it's not situated within the area where the affordable housing is going to be done. So I would just want to request that we may want to consider that. I know a lot of people are talking and saying how, they are not seeing development in their areas. Madam Speaker, I'd want to say that in my own constituency, the Rusinga Ring Road is done. There's only just a little bit here and there that needs to be done, but more or less it's been tarmacked. I want to say that in Luanda, the market is at 85%, almost complete. Madam Speaker, I know, and I don't know why the president has to struggle to prove that he has done 90 or 100%. You don't have to do 190% or 80% or even 70%. Madam Speaker, all of us know here, those who have been elected more than once or twice, the most difficult terms are often the first term. So for me, if there's goodwill, that shows that there's work being done. But we need to still up on the issues of human rights. I know there's a lot being done, but we could still do better. And I just want to thank the President. In terms of development, he's on the right track. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, the Honorable Member for Emurua Dikir, Honorable Ngeno.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I wish also to put my voice on this particular presentation by the head of state to this House, Madam Speaker. Much has been said by members, much was said even by the head of state himself in this House, Madam Speaker. My only contribution is that there has been a lot of backlog on development activities in this country, Madam Speaker. So that even today, as we are speaking in this House, Madam Speaker, these are matters which should have been spoken to 10, 20 years ago. The development that the President presented before this House, the blueprint, was a blueprint which was supposed to have been presented in this House 1969, 1970, and these are matters which should have been dispensed with, Madam Speaker. But due to leadership defaults, leadership faults, and so many issues, Madam Speaker, no president has ever addressed comprehensively the issues that the great president of this republic presented before this House. Madam Speaker, the matter of transport, the matter of infrastructure, Madam Speaker, is the greatest backbone to any developing country. Madam Speaker, the issue of irrigation, the issue of education are a great achievements which make a country leap from third world to second world to first world. But Madam Speaker, we have had a lot of challenges, and I would wish not to debate much on the matter, but I just want to urge all those who are under the President, including even this House, including the judiciary, Madam Speaker, if we must realize this blueprint of the President, Madam Speaker, it is upon this House to ensure that we do our part as the National Assembly, as the Senate. It is also upon the judiciary to do their part so that they do not hamper the success of this particular undertaking, Madam Speaker. It is also incumbent upon the executive to ensure that they implement the agendas, which actually 4 agendas which the President presented before this House, Madam Speaker. Otherwise, I wish to thank the President, and especially on the issue of dualling of the roads that has always been prone to accidents, that has always been prone to serious snarl-ups, that has always been, especially the Maimayu and the Kino, all the way up to Mao Summit, which the President is launching tomorrow, Madam Speaker. I wish to state here that that is going to open up our countryside, Madam Speaker, developments, transport, and all those matters. Madam Speaker, on matters of SGR, Madam Speaker, and I'm believing that in the near future, we are going to electrify the SGR so that we have faster means of transport, so that if those who are going to be using these particular networks, Madam Speaker, can reach their destinations within a short time. So, Madam Speaker, I am, and I believe this House will also take it up upon itself to ensure that we support the President on the matter of SGR. We electrify it so that we can have trains that can move with speed, so that people who are traveling from Mombasa to Nairobi can reach Nairobi within 2 hours, just like how they do with the planes, so that those who will be traveling from Nairobi to Kericho or Bomet to Kisumu can also take the shortest time possible. So, Madam Speaker, I'm in full support, and I would wish as a member of this House to give my support to the President's speech. Lastly, Madam Speaker, I would also wish the President to consider underground trains in this Nairobi so that it can reduce the jams and snarl-ups in this particular town. Ease also transport so that if you are traveling from Ngong to Nairobi town, you can use only 5 minutes. From Thika to this town, Madam Speaker, you can use the shortest time possible. So, and this one can be done through PPP, Madam Speaker, where we can have an agreement between investors and the country. We have underground trains in our country like the developed countries. I thank you, Madam Speaker, and I support.
Mover to reply. Thank you. Now the mover can reply.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, allow me to thank all the members who rose in their place in support of this motion, to note the contents of the address by His Excellency the President to the nation, which was his 3rd State of the Nation address. And in his own words, Honorable Speaker, as he began this address, he did indicate that 3 years ago in his first State of the Nation address, he had a vision that he came to share with the House and with the nation. And this time he didn't come with that vision, he came with a story on how far he had moved in the achievement of that vision that he did indicate that he wanted to roll out for the people of Kenya. And in line with the manifesto that he went around the country campaigning, and on the basis of which millions of Kenyans voted for him to lead our country. Honorable Speaker, the many members who have contributed to this debate have noted the many good things that are in place, and I want to agree with what the Honorable Millie Odhiambo has just said here in her contribution, that nobody should be in a hurry, because what is there can be seen and can be felt. That, Honorable Speaker, when you listen to those high priests, as they were described, of eternal pessimism, and their children, because even here, Honorable Speaker, I did hear a few of their children, in their pessimism, point fingers to data that they cannot offer any alternative data. That somebody can stand in their place, Honorable Speaker, and doubt steel and cement consumption in this country in the last 2 years. Honorable Speaker, even in your own village or in your own county, with affordable housing projects, with markets being built left, right, and center across the nation, and all those things are consuming cement and steel, with over 23,000 new classrooms built, somebody has the guts to come and make the world imagine that the consumption of steel and cement has gone down in the last 2 years. You know, you just need to be exercise a little, not even wisdom, intelligence. And you know, I have seen some of us are now fashioning ourselves as masters of doublespeak, that the things you said yesterday do not stand today because you do not sit where you were sitting yesterday. That some of us now want to be lecturing people in workshops, seminars. You are shopping around for every other small seminar and workshop you find to elucidate on fake data. Then you come here and say the president was not relying on data from the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics. And unfortunately, I saw one of the media houses also fall into the same trap, questioning data that you can go and verify. And in fact, unashamedly, one of the media houses was saying this data is not verifiable. So why don't you give us alternative data? If we say we have so many thousands of Kenyans working in the affordable housing sector, tell us, no, the houses don't exist and there are no people working. Maybe there are robots that are working in those affordable housing projects. And they are probably using soil, not cement. They are using bamboo sticks, not steel. Because, Honorable Speaker, facts and data cannot be hidden. You can never hide the truth. And I must thank the president because his story of resilience, his story of determination to the nation, his story of his determination to transform our country from being a third world country to a first world country, Honorable Speaker, is a story for all Kenyans. It's not a story for William Ruto, and he did say here, it is not about him. It is not about us who legislate on policies and laws that will transition our country from being a third world to a first world country. It is about all of us collectively as a nation. Therefore, even those who speak with bitterness, those today who are doubting that the Kenyan shilling is not stronger, the shilling has not been resilient. And I heard somebody say here that, oh, you know, at the time of elections, the shilling was at 120 shillings. But you're not being honest. You are not being honest with Kenyans to tell Kenyans, as much as the shilling was trading at 120 shillings on the day of the elections, we had no fuel in this country. We had no food. The economy was collapsing. Honorable Speaker, we had no foreign exchange reserves. You should be honest, Honorable Speaker. And I thank God because I was trained as an accountant and a student of economics. I do not do classroom economics. Just like I do real politics, I do real economics, not classroom economics. Because, Honorable Speaker,
Do you wish to be informed
classroom economics at times can be
Majority Leader,
theoretical. Honorable Speaker, if you allow me, I'll allow you to inform me as soon as I finish the point I'm making. I was saying classroom economics, Honorable Speaker, at times can be more theoretical than practical. But practical economics speaks to people, speaks to the real people, the real economy, Honorable Speaker. That when you say you have employed 100,000 teachers and somebody stands in their place here to tell us, oh, the president did not speak about education. Well, we know our CBC was collapsing in 2022.
Yes.
Parents didn't know what to do with their children. Universities were closing down, Honorable Speaker, public universities. We had no teachers in our schools. We are all members of parliament representing constituents who teachers, our head teachers, always are sending us, oh, try get me a chemistry teacher, get me a Swahili teacher. Today, facts and data is there that 76,000 teachers are on a payroll, paying taxes to KRA. Today, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Speaker, somebody is saying
You
that
wish to be informed
your
by the
region is a
Honorable
beneficiary. It
Chepkonga.
is not just your region. Thousands of Kenyans today who would not have accessed education opportunities can access education opportunities because of the transformation that has gone on in the education sector. Honorable Speaker.
Do you wish to be informed?
Honorable
by
Speaker,
Chepkonga?
let me allow Honorable Chepkonga and
Chepkonga.
Honorable Kenan to inform me in one minute.
And Kenan, yeah. Yeah, go ahead, Honorable Chepkonga.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. It is not my culture to interrupt a very good speech of the majority leader. He's spoken from his heart.
Is it a culture or a habit?
No, it's also my culture. Not allowed. You know, senior people, you don't just interrupt them like that. So you must apologize first when you interrupt. But it is very important, Mr. Speaker, to inform the majority leader. In fact, he has spoken very correctly that the foreign exchange reserves were below 3 months import cover, just slightly above $6 billion, Mr. Speaker. As we speak today, the foreign exchange cover, the foreign exchange reserves is over $20 billion. 2 times, Mr. Speaker. And somebody has the audacity to tell the majority leader that they were doing better than now. Shame on them.
Honorable Kenan. Actually, it's almost 3 times, not 2 times. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, access to education is a basic right. Mr. Speaker, in northern Kenya, before the government of His Excellency President William Ruto, northern Kenya was used as a recruitment bureau. You use the crisis, create crisis, artificial security crisis, recruit teachers from northern Kenya, post them, within weeks create crisis, and repost them to other regions. I can tell you today, even in the constituencies that I represent, today there are enough teachers. Access to education now is a right. And more fundamentally, for the first time, the government has operationalized 2 new teachers training college. So in the next few months, ML and other Kenyans, we have surplus teachers and we'll be asking for more employment so that these teachers from northern Kenya can now serve in other parts of the Republic of Kenya. And this will not have been realized without that deliberate policy by the government. And those who want to hear, please come to northern Kenya and see the difference. Thank you, Majority Leader.
Majority Leader, proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I am very well informed by the Honorable Kenan, and it is indeed true, and that's why Honorable Speaker was saying, facts speak for themselves. You cannot dispute facts and data. And I must thank even the members of the Institute of Certified Public Accountants, because I saw one of our young members who, as I said, has been running from one conference to another, in an association of this and an association of that. And at least the accountants, because they speak to facts and figures, were able to challenge that member on some of the things he was saying. Because it is very easy to talk. Cheap political talk is very cheap and easy. But you cannot sit with accountants to give us cheap political talk, because we will challenge you based on data, facts, and what you are telling us yesterday. Because when I was the chairman of the Budget and Appropriations Committee, or when I was the vice chair of Honorable Kenan, as the vice chair of the Public Investments Committee, in my first term as a new member of parliament, if the things I said then held, even today they should hold. And that is what defines leadership. If you want to be a leader, you must be consistent. Honorable Speaker, if I am wrong, I would be consistently be wrong. If I am right, I will consistently be right. Because if I flip-flop on my position today and tomorrow based on the position I hold, it therefore means I am nothing other than a small conman. And therefore, even for those of us who are young leaders, let us not be swallowed into the bitterness and the desire for revenge of those who are older than us, the Wamunyos and Waminyo and the others, Honorable Speaker. If you are a younger leader, please be faithful in your representation of the people and their issues. Honorable Speaker, when I hear someone saying, oh, securitization is illegal borrowing, how can your conversion of an asset into a marketable security be borrowing, Honorable Speaker. And you know, because you want to sound intelligent, you move from one workshop, one classroom to the other, one training session to the other, saying, oh, the government is involved in illegal borrowing because we are doing securitization. If when I was the chair of the Public Investments Committee 10, 12 years ago, I authored a report together with the Honorable Kainan to say that the government must innovate ways through which our parastatals can cease being dependent on the exchequer and have innovative ways of financing the operations in a commercially viable manner. If I held that position 12 years ago, I still hold the same position. I cannot flip-flop. I cannot say now if Kenya Power wants to securitize some of their funds, oh, it's illegal borrowing. Let us be honest. Let us also be objective in our criticism. I wish people would be like the Honorable Oundo, who at times criticizes, but does so objectively, and is consistent in his position. And even when he's not consistent, he knows he will tell you this is for politics. But you know, when somebody behaves...
Are you on a point of order?
When someone
What's
behaves
the point of
as
order?
if...
Order, Honorable Majority Leader, Honorable Oundo is on a point of order. What's out of order?
The majority leader is extremely out of order. I do not politic with the facts. I don't politic on the floor of the House. I politic outside there. On the floor of the House, I debate based on facts and based on available information. You see, he just wants to prolong the debate. I like, sometimes he likes using me as an easy punching bag, but I take it positively.
Order. This is a political institution. Honorable Oundo, Parliament is a political
Honorable Speaker,
institution.
you know, Honorable Oundo is a very serious legislator. And you know, I have immense respect for him. And that is why I said, when he criticizes on the floor, he does it based on facts. And he's consistent. That is leadership. When he does it out there in politics, he will tell you that was politics. But here we deal with facts and figures. Now, what astonishes me is somebody who yesterday was a chair of a committee pushing through securitization. Today says securitization is illegal borrowing. Someone who yesterday was telling us the consumption of cement, steel is going up. Today, because it is politically expedient, can stand on the floor of Parliament because you think you have prime time TV to lie to the Kenyan people. That is what I'm saying. That is not leadership. And I want to encourage those of our younger brothers and sisters who sit in this house. Let us be faithful to the truth. Let us be objective. Let us not allow ourselves to be consumed by anger, revenge, and bitterness, because it is consuming those who are older. If you are younger, please don't allow that to consume you. Honorable Speaker, I heard someone say that in the region, the Kenyan economy is not the most dominant today. Facts again speak for themselves. Data speaks. The Kenyan economy remains the most resilient in the East African region, and actually, we have now moved from position 8 to position 6 as amongst the fastest growing economies in Africa, not in the region, Honorable Speaker. These are facts from the World Bank. I don't need to belabor them, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I may go on and on and on, but because I was simply replying, let me thank all the members who supported this motion positively, those who had alternative views based on facts. We have heard you. We are not in a hurry. This administration has only been about 3 years old. By 2027, when we go into elections, this administration will have walked the talk on the vision that His Excellency the President elucidated to this House and to the nation 3 years ago in his first State of the Nation address, and the story that he spoke about last week on Thursday, a story of sacrifice, resilience, determination, and an endeavor to move our country from the third world to a first world nation, is a story that this House is an active participant in, and I fondly noted the appreciation of the President on the role that Parliament plays in moving our country forward. Let us say no to the negativity, Honorable Speaker. Let us watch those older and the younger priests of eternal pessimism, but let us not lose our focus on the transformative journey that we began 3 years ago. And I want to believe, Honorable Speaker, His Excellency the President William Ruto and his administration will indeed put this nation on that trajectory to move our nation into a first world nation. The naysayers may not believe it, but it is coming right in front of their eyes. They can see the affordable housing units going up. They can see road projects that stalled 9, 7, 8 years ago today going on. Tomorrow, I invite them to Rironi, Limuru, to Mau Summit, to Nakuru, to Salga, to witness the transformation of the corridor to the western part of our country, so that next Christmas, the Honorable Oundo will not sleep on that highway. He'll be able to go home the way I go home to Kikuyu here using either the southern bypass, western bypass, or ABC Rironi dual carriageway. That is the Kenya we want for every Kenyan, and that Kenya is possible to be realized within our lifetime, if only we can take up the challenge that the President has thrown to us as leaders, to work together with him to transform our country for the better. With that, I beg to reply.
Honorable members, I now put the question that pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 24-6, the thanks of this House be recorded for the exposition of public policy contained in the address of His Excellency the President delivered in Parliament on Thursday, the 20th of November, the year 2025, and further, that this House notes the following reports submitted by His Excellency the President in fulfillment of the provisions of Articles 132(1)(c) and 247 of the Constitution, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, the 25th of November, the year 2025. Roman 1, the 12th annual report on the measures taken and progress achieved in the realization of national values and principles of governance. Roman 2, the 12th annual report on the progress made in fulfilling the international obligations of the Republic of Kenya. And Roman 3, the annual report to Parliament on the state of national security. Will as many of the appearance say aye? Aye. Will as many of the contrary appearance say nay? The ayes have it. Order number 11, I want to put the question. Order, honorable members. Order, Honorable Oundo and Honorable Chepkonga. Honorable members, I also now put the question. This is for order number 11 on the Judges' Retirement Benefits Bill. Honorable members, I want to put the question. The Judges' Retirement Benefits Bill, National Assembly Bill number 27 of 2025, be now read a second time. Will as many of the opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order.
A bill for an act of Parliament to provide for the pension and other retirement benefits to judges of superior courts and for connected purposes. Order number 13, motion, consideration of the Public Finance Management Government Press Fund Regulations 2025.
Honorable Chepkonga.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, just want to join the majority leader. He has done an extremely profound job. When you drive almost through Kikuyu, the work that is going on the interchange is marvelous. It is wonderful. You know, we have never seen anything like that. And then people say that nothing has been done by the majority leader, surely. And you know, he's the one who ensured that this thing is done. In fact, there was a director general who was causing him problems. I'm telling you, you know, when you drive, you wonder whether you are in New York or California. You know, we have never seen anything like that. You know, you know, some of the things people should not be saying in this country. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that the House adopts the report of the Committee on Delegated Legislation on its consideration of the Public Finance Management Government Press Fund Regulations 2025 laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, 26 November 2025, and pursuant to the provisions of Section 24, subsection 4 of the Public Finance Management Act, Cap 412A, and standing under 210 4B, this House approves the Public Finance Management Government Press Fund Regulations 2025, published as legal notice number 142 of 2025, subject to the annulment of Regulations 5.2D, Regulation 9.1, and Regulation 12.1G for contravention of Section 13M of the Statutory Instruments Act, Cap 2. Mr. Speaker, these are fairly straightforward recommendation for adoption of the regulations, which have been amended pursuant to regulations that had been made in 1988, which had become almost obsolete, Mr. Speaker. The Committee on Delegated Legislation considered the regulations in line with the Constitution, the Public Finance Management Act in which these regulations have been made, and the Interpretation of Statutory General Provisions Act Cap 2 and the Statutory Instruments Act Cap 2. Mr. Speaker, the government press fund, the intention is to provide for funds and to modernize this particular fund. As you know, the Public Finance Management Act was passed way after these regulations were promulgated in 1988. And it was passed after the new constitution. So most of these regulations, Mr. Speaker, that have been existing in the books have required to be modernized and to bring them into conformity with the new constitution. Historically, this fund has supported the publication, dissemination of official government information, state security materials, and educational resources. However, despite substantial operational changes since the establishment of the fund in 1988, a lot has undergone a number of comprehensive changes, which required a total review of the fund. The government therefore found it necessary to modernize the legal framework, to strengthen the governance structures, and properly anchor the fund under the Public Finance Management Act, or Chapter 412. The object and purpose of this fund, Mr. Speaker, is to establish a fund to support the sustainability of commercial and non-commercial activities of the government press, which include printing, publishing, publication, and consulting. And in particular, Mr. Speaker, this fund is intended to finance the purchase of raw materials that will be used for printing and publishing works by the government press, Mr. Speaker. As you know, the government press does a very important function. All the bills that are brought into this house are published by the government printer. Every gazette notice of government is also published by the government printer. And a number of educational materials, including sometimes, Mr. Speaker, exams are published by the government printers. The other objective of this fund, Mr. Speaker, is to finance the maintenance, renewal, and replacement of obsolete plants, Mr. Speaker. As you know, the government printers has been in existence for very many years. From 1963, most of the plants that have been installed in the government printers, Mr. Speaker, are very old. And it uses very old technology, Mr. Speaker. So the intention of this fund is to replace some of those equipment with very modern equipment. that support items that are supported by IT, Mr. Speaker. If you went there, Mr. Speaker, you will find that most of the government press equipment are very manual. And yet we claim as a country that we are digital. Mr. Speaker, that is a contradiction in terms. So this fund is seeking to ensure that we digitize the government printers equipment so that it can be more efficient, it becomes more convenient in terms of printing, and secondly, in terms of production, it will be more quicker. The third object, Mr. Speaker, is to provide resources for the payment of overheads related to printing and publishing works that this particular government printer institution is performing for this nation. As you know, it also provides services to county governments. County governments and county assemblies use the services of the government printer to print all bills, Mr. Speaker, that are published by county assemblies across this country in the 42 counties. Having examined, Mr. Speaker, the Public Finance Management Government Press Fund Regulation 2025, the committee found that there are certain parts of these regulations that contravened the statutory instruments. Particularly Section 13M, that provides that no statutory instrument shall inappropriately delegate power to any other person when the minister or the regulatory making authority has been given that power and propose to delegate to someone else to make decisions as they deem fit or as they consider appropriate. Mr. Speaker, that in itself goes against the Constitution, which says, Mr. Speaker, there is no person in Kenya who has the power to make anything that has a force of law. So when you purport to give someone else, a third party, to make law that as a force of law, that it contravenes the Constitution, it contravenes the statutory instruments. And that is the reason why we are recommending to this House, Mr. Speaker, that paragraph 5(2)(d), which inappropriately delegates responsibilities of the regulatory making authority to a third party, be annulled. Paragraph 9(1), paragraph 12(1)(g), Mr. Speaker, we are also recommending that those sections be annulled so that the regulation comes in line with the Constitution, with the Parent Act and the Statutory Instruments Act, Mr. Speaker. And so, Mr. Speaker, I move that, that this House approves the Public Finance Management Government Press Fund Regulation 2025, legal notice number 142 of 2025, subject to the annulment of regulations 5(2)(d), paragraph 9(1), and paragraph 12(1)(g) for contravening section 13M of the Statutory Instruments Act, Mr. Speaker. And with those remarks, Mr. Speaker, I beg to move and request the Honorable Janet Sitiene to second.
Oh, okay.
Proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Just before I second, I really want to support the majority leader when he said that the president's plans and strategies to transform this country is a hope for this country for a brighter future. His determination is so good that it gives us hope as a people of Kenya. And we really want to thank the president for that. We know he is determined and he is focused on transforming this country. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, I wish to second the fact to confirm that the PFM Act conform with the new constitution. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Now, it's okay. Order number 13. Honorable members, I now propose the question that this House adopts the report of the Committee on Delegated Legislation on its consideration of the Public Finance Management Government Press Fund Regulations 2025 laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, the 26th November, the year 2025, and pursuant to the provisions of Section 24, subsection 4 of the Public Finance Management Act, Cap 412A, and Standing Order number 210 4B, this House approves the Public Finance Management Government Press Fund Regulations 2025, published as legal notice number 142 of the year 2025, subject to annulment of Regulations 5, 2D, 9(1) and 12(1)G of the regulations for contravention of Section 13M of the Statutory Instruments Act, Cap 2A. Yes, Honorable Oundo.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for giving me this opportunity and also put a word on this consideration of the Public Finance Management Government Press Fund Regulations 2025. And let me go on record as a member of the Committee of Delegated Legislation in the 12th Parliament. Unfortunately, in those, is it fortunately or unfortunately, in the 12th Parliament, Honorable Chepkonga was not around. Your Honor, leave of absence, warrior sabbatical, he was not around. And indeed, the Honorable Speaker, while I was there were very curious issues. And by the time we were preparing our exit report, we made several recommendations to improve the workings of the committee. Number one, Honorable Speaker, any act of parliament, once it's been signed by, assented by the president, we normally have a tendency to donate or delegate powers to the cabinet secretaries or other accounting officers as the constitutional officer holders to prepare regulations, on the understanding that you cannot have everything in the act of parliament. Consequently, Honorable Speaker, there was a tendency for the cabinet secretaries to abuse that delegated authority. They abused it in several ways, Honorable Speaker. One, extending the mandate, extending and trying to interpret afresh all that particular provisions that they gave them those powers. To an extent, Honorable Speaker, they could even impose levies and some form of tax, almost like taxation, through the back door. And indeed, many times, we stood our grounds and told them as much. And many cases they were threatened, but we thought it was good for the country to make sure that we stand firm. Second, Honorable Speaker, there were many cases where government officers or cabinet secretary would publish a regulation. Before it's approved by the House, they're already implementing the regulation in terms of levies, enforcement, and those kind of things. It's good we went ahead again during this term to amend the Certain Instrument Act to stem that kind of blatant abuse of power. Honorable Speaker, as we stand here today, let me also commend the government press. For many of us, the Kenya Gazette had some kind of awe. Whenever you could hear the Kenya Gazette, you'd always think very many important things were there. And of course, Honorable Speaker, we must find a way of making them autonomous so that they can do their work judiciously and according to the law. But Honorable Speaker, it is important for us to understand we might probably in the future have a standalone act of parliament, if we don't have, to make sure that the government press truly remains an independent and an accountable government institution that serves all the people of Kenya. There were many instances, Honorable Speaker, you take a matter to the government press, it will never be published or placed in the government Kenya Gazette because somebody somewhere has deliberately interfered or given specific instructions not to proceed to gazette a particular matter. Honorable Speaker, many Kenyans, when they lose their documents, be it title deed, be it certificate of lease, be it academic certificates and the rest of kind of things, and even when you want to change your name, like the conman in Mbere North, You call Kenyatta Hospital, you go change your name, and some strange reason, you are cleared to stand for an election on UDA party, which you thought was a party for the rule of law. But that turned out not to be the case. So that we are saying, Honorable Speaker, they must serve all Kenyans. They must actually have a service charter that if I have to gazette the loss of my title, once I've paid the requisite fees, I should expect that gazettement to be out after a certain period of time, not to stay there forever without anything else. And I wish they could also work with the clarity, with the speed the way they worked in gazetting the impeachment of the truthful man. Now the truthful man has been impeached. He's causing sleepless night to quite a number of people. He's causing the butterflies to fly in many people's stomachs because the way, the speed at which they hurried the process. Honorable Speaker, let me commend the committee, and I hope you have maintained the same spirit. If there's no public participation, adequate public participation, annul. If there's no memorandum or whatever impact assessment, annul. If you have stretches the mandate of the Providing Act, continuously annul. We must fix this country. We cannot become a country of praise and worship of bad governance. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Is there anybody else? Okay. Fair enough. There being no further interest in this, I will call upon the Honorable Chepkonga to reply.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Speaker. In fact, I want to thank the Honorable Wundo, who is a former member of the Committee on Delegated Legislation. He was, in fact, we hear of his very important contribution that he made in the 12th Parliament. The only thing he says is that I was on leave, but I was not on leave. I just changed roles, Mr. Speaker. I moved from a member of Parliament for Ainapco constituency, and he elected me as his commissioner to represent him at the Parliamentary Service Commission. He must have forgotten, but just remind him that he elected me. So, Mr. Speaker, he did
in effect promoted you.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Because I used to pay him.
From being a member of Parliament, you became a boss for Parliament.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. I was paying. Mr. Speaker, you know, the Honorable Wundo's committee, it was nicknamed the Annulment Committee.
Yes.
Because they were extremely very strict. And as a consequence of that, when we took over with recommendation from their committee that to stem this annulment of regulations, it may be important to undertake public pre-publication scrutiny, which we are now doing, and which we did with this one and the next one, Mr. Speaker. That is the reason why we did not want to annul, because there were just some small errors, and we thought we don't want to pass them with errors. We'd rather just annul some small parts of it and approve the substantive part of it. I want to thank him for his contribution and for the support that this House has given to the committee in passing a number of regulations that have been brought before this House. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the member for contributing very fervently and very competently to this particular motion, Mr. Speaker, and I beg to reply.
Fair enough, honorable members. My role is to put the question. Honorable members, I put the question that this House adopts the report of the Committee on Delegated Legislation on its consideration of the Public Finance Management, Government Press Fund, and Regulations 2025 laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, the 26th of November, the year 2025, and pursuant to the provisions of Section 24, subsection 4 of the Public Finance Management Act, Cap 420-12 and Cap 412A, and Standing Order number 210, 4B, this House approves the Public Finance Management Government Press Fund Regulations 2025, published as legal notice number 142 of the year 2025, subject to annulment of Regulations 5, subsection Regulations 5, 2D, 9, 1, and 12(1)(g) of the regulations for contravention of Section 13M of the Statutory Instruments Act, Cap 2A. Will as many of the appearance say aye? Aye. Will as many of the contrary appearance say nay? The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 14, motion, consideration of public finance management, sports, art, and social development fund amendment regulations 2025.
Chairperson, Committee on Delegated Legislation.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that this House adopts the report of the Committee on Delegated Legislation on its consideration of the Public Finance Management, Sports, Arts, and Social Development Fund Amendment Regulations 2025, laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, 26 November 2025, and pursuant to the provisions of Section 24, subsection 4 of the Public Finance Management Act, Cap 412, Chapter 412, Mr. Speaker, this House approves the Public Finance Management, Sports, Arts, and Social Development Fund Amendment Regulations published as legal notice number 106 of 2025. Mr. Speaker, as you know, the Sports Fund has acquired some importance in the recent past. As you know, the President has been promoting our sportsmen and women. And this Sports Fund has played a huge contribution towards inspiring these particular sports people. And the monies that you hear the President is contributing comes from this fund, Mr. Speaker. There are some people who wonder, where is the President getting this money? This money that is in the Sports Fund is money that is collected from Sports Pesa, Aviator, who are taxed. And so to give to our sports people for having done this country proud, Mr. Speaker, that is the only legitimate thing that can be done for people who have given themselves to put Kenya in the world map. And as you know, Mr. Speaker, in the recent past, when we had the athletics, Kenya came number 4 globally. Mr. Speaker, that was a very commendable position. Number 2, Mr. Speaker, you saw the football that was held here recently. In fact, including some of us who are not fans of football, the local ones. As you know, I'm a huge fan of Arsenal, Mr. Speaker. Oh, yes, Mr. Speaker. In fact, just to remind Honorable Undo that Arsenal won yesterday. And now, and now, Mr. Speaker, we are leading by over 10 points against our competitors, Mr. Speaker. Those who are competing against Arsenal now are viewing us on what we call Viusasa, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the fund that has been established to support sports activities in this country has been established pursuant to the Public Finance Management Act, Cap 412, Mr. Speaker. As you know, most all the funds that are being established are established by the Cabinet Secretary for Treasury, pursuant to the Public Finance Management Act, Mr. Speaker. And so we are considering this regulation in line with the Public Finance Management Act, Constitution, the Interpretation and General Provisions Act, and the Statutory Instruments Act. Mr. Speaker, the regulations have gone through the due process, public participation. They gave us the regulatory impact assessment statement. Mr. Speaker, the object of this particular regulation is to refine the scope and mandate of the fund, introduce an updated formula for apportionment of funds to various entities, like, for instance, Mr. Speaker, as you know, we are constructing Talenta Stadium at a total cost of 40 billion shillings, Mr. Speaker. That's why you hear the majority leader speaking to the question of securitization. This is, in fact, a very novel and a new approach of financing infrastructural activities in this country and globally generally, Mr. Speaker. we have regulations that are pending before this committee that deal with securitization of the Kera money, the Kura, and the Kenya money, Mr. Speaker, that is allocated to them. Mr. Speaker, we have seen how much monies that have been raised as a consequence of securitization. For instance, in the road sector, Mr. Speaker, the reason why you are seeing a number of roads being constructed at the moment is because under the securitization regulations, government has been able to raise 175 billion shillings to pay the pending bills, Mr. Speaker, which
why don't you give the honourable what's happening?
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I think it was just
A technical
issues,
Yes,
Mr. Speaker.
proceed.
And as I was saying, Mr. Speaker, you know, this securitization has sorted out our very major problems. Like, for instance, the Talanta Stadium, Mr. Speaker. This is the only stadium in Africa of its own kind. Mr. Speaker, you have never seen a stadium which is constructed at a total cost of 40 billion shillings, Mr. Speaker. I normally pass through there, and I just wonder and behold the magnificent stadium that has been constructed by CRBC through the sports fund, Mr. Speaker. And as you know, where that Talanta Stadium sits, Mr. Speaker, many Kenyans should be thanking me. When I was the Corporation Secretary of Kenya Post and Telecommunication, we prevented goons and crooks in this country who wanted to allocate themselves that particular plot, which belonged to Kenya Post and Telecommunication, which was a government institution, Mr. Speaker. If it was not for some of us, you would be seeing so many small houses which would have been constructed there. We had some people who had funded titles, which they created, I don't know where. Was it in River Road? I don't know where, Mr. Speaker. But we clipped their wings, Mr. Speaker. I went to the director of CID, at that time, Mr. Noto, and we arrested them, and they took off. They surrendered the fake titles, Mr. Speaker. That is the reason why we have this Talanta Stadium, because it is constructed on government property, Mr. Speaker. And so this fund is intended to finance such kind of activities, structural activities. And as you know, Mr. Speaker, many of the stadiums that had been promised in the past have stalled because they have no funds, including two of my stadiums in Eldoret, Mr. Speaker. They have become a white elephant. Kamarij one in Elgeyo Marakwet, which is very well known to Professor Wundo. Mr. Speaker, this fund will sort out this particular problem, Mr. Speaker, that we have been witnessing in this country. We start stadiums and then we have no money. We are allocating them through Exchequer. And you know Exchequer is competing with everybody, Mr. Speaker. We are competing for Exchequer with everybody, with the sports people, education, which is extremely very important. As you know, education at the moment is swallowing the largest bit of our budget, 700 billion, Mr. Speaker, of revenue which we collect about 2.6 trillion. Mr. Speaker, this particular fund will assist this country to sort out those problems, that intermittent problems that we have seen occurring from time to time. The intention of this particular fund, Mr. Speaker, is also to strengthen operational definitions and institutional roles. It will also provide clarity on the administration, management, and utilization of the fund. The overall purpose of the fund remains to support, Mr. Speaker, the development and promotion of sports and arts, programs that foster social development, including universal health, Mr. Speaker. As you know, our sports people,
Proceed, Honorable.
we must ensure that our sports people are healthy and they are provided with sufficient facilities. Like, for instance, physiotherapists, Mr. Speaker. This bill, this fund, Mr. Speaker, will foot the bill to provide physiotherapy facilities for sports people. You know, people just run and they just come and sit, Mr. Speaker. If you look at those ones who run, athletes in international other countries, Mr. Speaker, they run, and when they are resting, you have a physiotherapy straightening the muscles that have been injured, Mr. Speaker. This will ensure that we are very competitive sports people. Mr. Speaker, as you know, sometimes we have a problem in terms of the sports people managing themselves. And I have one case in point, the late Kelvin Kiptum. You know, if this fund had been properly operationalized, this gentleman would not have been drinking, and his coach drinking, and himself is driving a drunk coach, and himself is drunk. Mr. Speaker, how would they not lose control? These are people who should have been kept in some secluded area. You have a coach
Protected.
A protected area, Mr. Speaker.
From themselves.
Yes, from themselves. They can injure themselves. They lack self-control. It's because they have too much money. This is a gentleman would have seen running some 2 hours in marathon. Because he had already run 2 hours and 35 seconds, Mr. Speaker. In fact, he just ran, it was just like a walk in the park. If we had allowed him to run, one of the functions of this sports fund is also to establish gyms for sports people. And you know, Mr. Speaker, you know, most of the sportsmen, they just run. They do what we call body toning. They don't do muscle strengthening. And they need those facilities, Mr. Speaker. This fund is dedicated to help the sports people so that when they are running, they are almost finishing, Mr. Speaker. You know, they have the last kick. You know, most of them, they run when they have seen the tape here, they have no last kick. And then you see an Ethiopian just passing them because they have better facilities than ourselves. This fund will ensure that those facilities are provided, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I don't want to say too much on this particular fund because it is fairly straightforward. It is something that is going to be useful to this country. And so, Mr. Speaker, I request the House that pursuant to Section 24(4) of the Public Finance Management Act, Cap 412, the committee recommends that this House approves the Public Finance Management Sports, Arts, and Social Development Fund Amendment Regulation 2025, legal notice number 106 of 2025 in its entirety, Mr. Speaker. And with those remarks, Mr. Speaker, I beg to move and request the Honorable Mwalio to second.
Mwalio.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I rise to second the consideration of the Public Finance Management Sports, Arts and Social Development Fund Amendment Regulation 25. And before I do that, I would like to commend the committee for coming up with this regulation and be able to have thought about our sports people and even our academies. You remember that sometimes back we used even to have teams that are invited to go and play outside, and there is no money even for travel, there is no money for expenses, and they sometimes miss, and also the morale goes down because they are struggling to get money, no facilities, no good uniform, and this fund will be able to do much, especially as our sports department is concerned. And also we can see that there are sports academies now that are coming up in our constituencies. This fund is going to help our young people who in their secondary school, in their early age, they are able to train and become good sports people, be able to earn their living. If you compare with the other countries, these people are taken care of and they don't do anything else. They do training from morning to evening, and then they become good sports people, they become good footballers, they become very well trained, and even they earn their living from that. So this fund is most welcome, and I think that we are going to pass it to be able to help our country to grow sports, because we should grow our sports the way we are growing our education. We have so many universities coming up. We have so many tippets in every constituency. We should also have the academies in every constituency so that the young people that are talented can be able even to go for sporting if they are unable to achieve much, to excel in education, in the books. They can also excel in sports. And therefore, it's a welcome idea, and also it's a way of getting our young people an alternative from the books. So, but with those few remarks, I second.
Honorable members, I now propose the question. That this House adopts the report of the Committee on Delegated Legislation on its consideration of the Public Finance Management, Sports, Arts, and Social Development Fund Amendment Regulations of the year 2025, laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, the 26th of November, the year 2025, and pursuant to the provisions of Section 24, subsection 4 of the Public Finance Management Act, Cap 412A. This House approves the Public Finance Management, Sports, Arts, and Social Development Fund Amendment Regulations, published as Legal Notice Number 106 of 2025. Yes, Oundo.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. In my young days, I used to be a very active sports person until I fractured my foot in old age. I no longer want to get across anywhere because I fear further injuries. But let me also, Honorable Speaker, join the committee in supporting the recommendation to approve the Sports Public Finance Management, Sports, Arts, and Social Development Fund Amendment Regulations, published as Legal Notice Number 106 of 2025. And Honorable Speaker, we must be our country, Kenya, has been known and its fame has spread all over the world because of sports, specifically athletics. And at any given time, Honorable Speaker, if there is anything that brings people of Kenya together, regardless of their political divide, primitive tribal association, is the sports. Many of us feel very proud when we see the Chebetis, we see the Obiris crossing the tape with the hands raised up, and you can see the color of the national, in their uniform, the colors of the national flag. When they run the lap of honor with that Kenyan flag, it gives many of us a lot of pride. Whenever I travel all over the world, Honorable Speaker, they will always talk about Kipchoge Keino, they'll talk about who and who, these famed athletes. It is important, Honorable Speaker, any opportunity that is available to provide or strengthen funding for sporting activities must always be supported at all times. Honorable Speaker, I know this Sports, Arts, and Social Development Fund, that's where funds also to pay indigent and afford universal health care comes from. So, Honorable Speaker, I do hope and pray the amendments that have been presented or that are being presented here on the same fund goes further to strengthen the operations and management of the fund. Honorable Speaker, Kenya has had some very old and dilapidated sporting facilities. I think the last major sports stadium to be built was Kasarani. And I remember some of the earlier matches. I remember very well the match between Harambee Stars and Nigeria. I think it was African Cup Confederation qualifier. Those are some of the days now Kasarani came into effect. But Honorable Speaker, and I want this as members of Parliament and the public to have this debate. We have taken an antagonistic approach. We have taken a belligerent approach. We have taken a confrontational approach about securitization. Honorable Speaker, we might want to argue in many ways we want to look at it. But truth be told, both from literature and practice, securitization is a loan. Securitization is a debt, because all you are simply doing is that you are capitalizing your future income to get a lump sum for today to undertake an event and commit that future income stream to service the amount. In the event that income stream fails to materialize, it means the consolidated fund will be required to pay to service that commitment. So there is no other argument. It must be subsumed in politics. We might want to do all that we can to do, but securitization, like it or not, is a loan, and once it's a loan in terms of public resources, that becomes a public debt. We might refuse to enter it in the schedule of public debt, but that remains a fact, undeniable fact, both from literature and practice, that that's a debt, that's a loan that you commit, a fixed income, a ring-fenced income, supposedly hoping the income will proceed and remain there forever. In the event of any eventuality that income is not forthcoming, it means then you have to look for an alternative source to service that particular loan. And in terms of public funds, where is that? That's the exchequer through the consolidated fund. But nevertheless, once we have it, once we have Talanta Stadium, we have all of it, what we have, let's deal with the problem. Let's burden the future generation to deal with the problem, while the current generation, led by Honorable Chepkonga, will have exited and left. I have not seconded. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I second, but I simply want to go on record. Securitization is a loan, and a loan in public finance is a public debt. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Yeah, I mean, those of us who were here and still have a memory of the 60s and the 70s would not forgive Kenyans for failing to remember the real stars of the 60s. You say Kipchoge Keino. There was Ben Chipcho. What was Ben Chipcho? There was Wilson Kiprugut. There was Naftali Temu. And there was an Amos Biwott. These are the people who put us on the map those early days. I'm talking about the 60s. Yes, yes. No, even 64. I was going through Standard 1 in 1964. Yes, give him the mic.
Honorable Speaker, the first Kenyan to win a gold medal in boxing was Wangila, who came from Funyula constituency.
Absolutely.
Who was a cousin of my grandmother. So I want to warn Honorable Chepkonga.
Wangila even had a big issue because he had converted to Islam.
Yes.
And you wanted to bury him in traditional ways, and we went to court.
Yes.
And managed to bury him in the Islamic way.
Yes. But that cannot deny the fact that he came from Funyula constituency,
yes,
and he was a cousin, yes, of my late grandmother. So I just want to bring to attention Honorable Chepkonga.
Yes.
Any day he annoys me beyond, and I cannot hold myself,
yes,
he needs to look where my hands is coming from, yes, because one punch is down. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
You I know it's not from your committee, but the Committee on Sports must put up statues for the people who have put us on the map. Naftali Temu, if I remember, my memory serves me very well, ran barefoot and would give us a gold medal. So we need, and if you don't remember, a country that does not know its history, does not know its future. If you don't know where you came from, you'll have a problem knowing where you're going. Thank you. And now that there seems to be having the support of everybody, I think the mover should be called upon to reply.
Yeah, I thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we remember as a country with nostalgia the quartet of Naftali Temu of the Olympics of Munich Olympics, where Kenya won for the first time a gold medal in 4x400. Mr. Speaker, the last person to pick the battle was almost the last person in the field. And he ran and outsprint the rest who were ahead of him.
That was which year?
That was 1964, Mr. Speaker.
There you go.
Yes, when we were in Standard 1.
And where were you that time?
No, I was still a toddler.
Are you sure?
Yes, I was. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, in fact,
are you sure your mother and father had not even met?
No, absolutely, Mr. Speaker. You know the age between me and you is not very far. It's just that I've remained young. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the members who have contributed and just to thank the sports people who have done immense work in putting the image of Kenya at beyond what people would do in the ordinary circumstances, Mr. Speaker. When you see someone running in a field, Mr. Speaker, some of us who are watching and when it is live, the adrenaline, which is also running with them, Mr. Speaker, when we want to go and sleep, the sleep is disappeared because the adrenaline was faster than the blood, Mr. Speaker, because of what we have been seeing in the screen. And so, Mr. Speaker, we want to commend our sports people for having done this country proud, and particularly those who have won gold medals, silver medals, bronze medals, and those who have attempted, Mr. Speaker. You know, I remember the marathon runner from Tanzania. He ran and he continued running, and he was the last one. When he finished, he was asked, why did you continue running and you were completely last? You had been outsprinted by everybody. And he said, my country did not send me to win. My country sent me to finish. Mr. Speaker, that is called sports. That's called sports. And that's the reason why we're supporting the sports fund, Mr. Speaker, that it be established urgently and be recalibrated for purposes of ensuring that funds are used in a manner that will benefit our sports people and this nation. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I beg to reply.
Undo takes a lot of pleasure in boxing and I think soccer. I'm sure you only remember Joe Kadenge. You don't remember J.J. Masiga? And Kadiri Farah? No, do you remember Kadiri Farah? Yes. Okay, thank you. Onda says that J.J. Masiga also came from Bumula constituency, so Bumula must be celebrated. Honorable members, and I put the question. This House adopts the report of the Committee on Delegated Legislation on its consideration of the Public Finance Management, Sports, Arts, and Social Development Fund Amendment Regulations of the year 2025, laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, the 26th of November, the year 2025, and pursuant to the provisions of Section 24(4) of the Public Finance Management Act, Cap 412A. This House approves the Public Finance Management Sports, Arts, and Social Development Fund Amendment Regulations published as legal notice number 106 of the year 2025. Will as many of the opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order. Yes, what's your point of order, Honorable Okwom?
Sir?
MP for Karachonyo, am I right?
You are totally right.
Yeah, proceed. I knew when the Karachonyo MP was some other name, but I'll tell you. Go, proceed.
Thank you. Yeah, Mr. Speaker, pursuant to Standing Order number 35, Mr. Speaker, I rise to inform you that there is no quorum for any further business to be transacted properly. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Okay. My memory serves me very well. Phoebe Asio was also a member of Parliament for Karachonyo. Am I right? Yeah, we served with her in the 7th Parliament. Honorable members, I will now direct that the bell, the quorum bell be rung for 10 minutes. Order, honorable members, order. Honorable members, there being no quorum, and the time being 17:52 p.m. or 5:52.
This House stands adjourned until Tuesday, the 2nd of December, the year 2025, at 2:30 p.m.